no company and no regulations can change the laws of physics. When we're talking about gas leakage rates underground, this is about cement not cracking under pressures. In most of these cases, 1 inch of cement that has to be impervious for up to 2 miles, right? A mile down, 2 miles out, 2 miles down, a mile out, whatever it is. The oil and gas industry's best case scenario, where they are reporting on themselves, their own science, shows that currently 35% of oil and gas wells in the world are currently leaking. If we're talking about 5 times or whatever it is, 3 times the amount of shale gas in the United States, and you're saying China's going to do it no matter what, all the more important to ban it every single other place that you possibly can and try to influence China to do the same. Because when we're living in New York City here, and we're the 3rd most vulnerable city in the world to climate change right now, the predictions are dire in terms of sea level rise and all these other indicators. We simply cannot allow another 2 or 3 or 5 decades worth of fossil fuel extraction on the planet.
I'm going to get in here because I wanted to add a kind of nuance which I think is important here, that China isn't only most immediately confronting its kind of emissions problem. It's obviously confronting a very strong political problem in terms of the air that children are breathing. I think you saw in the video just how blanketed Chinese cities actually are. Jaeah and I actually traveled to one of the oldest coal producing areas in the country, a place called Lanzhou. What did we discover when we were reporting there, Jaeah, just to set us a baseline to talk about this?
Bring it back down to ground level. Well, as many of you probably know, China's current air pollution problem is most evident in its cities, its largest cities. And as you said, James, Lanzhou was one of the first cities in China to go coal, and now it's one of the most polluted. In our car ride driving out to Xigu, which is one of the industrial districts out in Lanzhou, you could feel the air burning as it went down your throat, and it was, it's a very visceral experience. And for the people living out in those areas, we met children and families living in the shadow of coal-fired power plants. Many of them who spoke to us said that, in their disposition, they're very well aware of the effect, the direct effect and long-term effect that burning coal is having on their health. You don't need proof, scientific evidence or studies to tell you that. It's right there in front of you. At the same time, even those who want to move away from those areas say that they can't afford to. And others have said, well, besides, what's the point? It's just as polluted everywhere else.